One of the most critical things that I can tell you, and this goes back to a part of this training, is reading books. I tell people all the time that I can tell where you're going to be in 5 years. All I've got to do is give me the list of the books that you're reading and the people that you're associating with. I'll tell you where you'll be in 5 years. Not only that, I'll tell you how much money you'll be making. Okay. Are you good enough? Yes and no. You're good enough to stay the same. You're not good enough to go to the next level if you're not improving. All of us should be evolving. We're reading. We're leaders. I'm sitting here on T. Gray's desk here, and I'm just overwhelmed with books on managing yourself. Okay, over here, Mark bought me this book. He bought one for T. Gray as well, The Emotionally Intelligent Leader. Okay, another one, Leading Crack the Code to Customer Devotion, Leading Loyalty. Okay, Harvard Business, T. Gray. Harvard Business Review. I haven't stepped up to Harvard yet. This is why I surround myself with Harvard-esque type people, right? But Harvard Business Review, this is just his personal reading material that's on his desk. This is not his library. This is on his desk. This is why I know where he's going to be in 10 years, in 5 years. Okay? Why? Because I know who he's associating with. This group of people that's right here, he's going to be a very, very wealthy man. A very, very wealthy man. Okay? And because he's reading the material, he's not on Instagram looking for the latest fight. He's not on Instagram focusing on, whoever. You guys know what I'm talking about. The latest television shows and the wannabe people. He's not watching somebody make a living. He's creating a living. What are you reading? What are you taking in? I want you to understand, whatever it is that you take in is what you're going to give back out. You can't take garbage in and spit out positivity. Stop thinking that if you keep taking negative in, okay, you can't say, I'm going to put the negative on my right side of my brain, but all the positivity is going to be on my left side. So when I go speak, I'm only going to speak, positive. It doesn't work that way. You got a subconscious mind. It's more powerful than your conscious mind. Your subconscious, how do you feed it? You feed it with books. You feed it with reading material. You feed it with learning. You want to feed your faith? Learn how to apply your faith. You say, man, seeing for me is believing. What? That's because you haven't read enough. That's why. You think you got to see to believe. Many of you believe in magic and you can't see the magic. Somebody's taught you that it's real. Somebody's taught you how to believe. You didn't just get this way. You got there because of your senses and people who poured into your senses in terms of information. Your school teachers, your professors, your parents, your pastors, your priests, your family members. They poured their books, their verbal books, they poured them inside of you. Go back and look at if what your parents and your influential people knew was inside of a book, how many people would it have helped? Would that be a book you'd recommend to people? I'm not telling you that you don't have good parents. I can tell you right now that my mom has written some books that I would never share with people. But remember, I'm not the person who sees the dot. I look at it and there's some books that she's written that are filled with so much love and compassion and humanity. But man, I'd pass those books out and make sure everybody has them. But there's some books I'm like, Mom, no, we're not gonna write that book. We'll keep that book here. We're gonna have only one copy. We're gonna put that up in the safe. Nobody should read that book. Okay, and so you got to go back and look. What were you taught? What were you taught about belief? What were you taught about how to work with people? I was having a conversation with my doctor, who's my neighbor, for my shoulder. Okay, Kemp. All right. I was there yesterday, 2 days ago, and we were having a conversation about his son. His son is over in University of Texas, and he's like, his son is culture shocked. He said, because these people there, they're kind of so liberal. And he's not a super conservative. He's like, he didn't understand because they made a rule that you can just pitch a tent anywhere on campus and stay there if you want. He's like, he didn't understand that. Why? Because all he knew was what he learned from his dad and his mom and his school teacher. He went to school with my son. And I knew, but he didn't get a different side. So he can't understand. He thinks that the way to be happy is you got to have a nice big house and money. He's not materialistic, but he doesn't understand how could these people be happy choosing to pitch a tent their students and sleep outside. So I recommended a book from a doctor. I gave him a book, A Curious Mind. Okay. So listen, you know, he needs to read this book. There's a book that I read. It changed my life, and it showed me how to look at the other side. It showed me that life is not all about what Holton Bugs thinks. It shows me that life is very, Holton Bugs' world is so small. It's a grain of salt in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in comparison to how the world really is. You only see the world through your eyes. Learn how to see it through the eyes of other people, specifically when you're in the people business. Do you understand this is one of the reasons why some of us are only able to attract people who are just like us? You're only able to attract people who look like you, who from your same neighborhood, who grew up with you, who speak like you, who speak the same language as you. Why? Because you haven't read enough to learn how to understand and how to communicate and relate to other people. Go and get well read. Now, I've got my top 10 list of books that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give them to you one by one here. Okay. Some reading material. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It's a book that changed my life. Get the book, read the book. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say this, and some of you already know what I'm going to say. Many of you who've been with me for 15 years, you already know what I'm about to say. I am about to give my secrets away right now. And there's only 5 people, and we have thousands listening right now. 5 people are going to go get all 10 of these books and read them. Actually, 5 people are going to go get 10 of the books. And only about 5% of those people are going to read the 10. I know you're saying, no, not me. I'm going to get them. Trust me. You're going to get distracted by the things that have already kept you where you are. See, when you've got a big dream, very little time for distractions and mess come into your focus. When you got if you got a small dream, you get distracted by all kind of stuff. So when I roll this out, you're going to be so excited about these books, and then the phone's going to ring, and it's going to be somebody say, girl, did you hear what happened? And you're already distracted. Why? Because you're more focused on entertainment than education. And that distraction of entertainment is what keeps you in the same grade year after year after year. But somebody who's real focused, they're going to go get them. And they're going to start reading them. Don't get them from me. Don't buy them you can't buy them from me. I don't sell them. I'm telling you what I've read and what changed my life. This is not the HB that you know now. It's not who I was before. I used to read my mom's books. I used to read my dad's books. I used to read, my professor's books. I used to read, the books of my pastor. I used to read books of friends. And some of those friends that I had, that just weren't so positive, that I don't associate with anymore. I used to read their books. Co-workers, I used to read their books. Man, we hit them for overtime this week here, man. You know what? Guess what, man? I got this job. I don't even have to do anything. I just go to work, man, and I don't have much to do. That used to be like the highlight of conversation for us, talking about how much we make and how little we perform on jobs. And I think about it now, I'm like, I used to talk about how I used to go to work when I had this job a long time ago, and I could take a 2-hour break and nobody knew. I was thinking, I had a poor man's philosophy, and poor is up here, not about your bank account. That's how I used to think. Now it's like, I don't have office hours now. We just work until the job gets done. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Next book. The Master Key to Riches. My all-time favorite, The Master Key to Riches. This book changed my life. And I can tell you right now, this book, you read this book, find something that you're reading it for, and it will make a major impact on your life. When I read this book and it talked to me about a definiteness of purpose, I don't know why it connected with me, and I had a definiteness of purpose. I live my life by definiteness of purpose today, and that's what has kept me on track. Get this book, read this book, study the chapters over and over and over and over and over. I studied the definiteness of purpose chapter. I've read that chapter probably, I don't know how many hundreds of times. I read the book, maybe about 12 times. I read the chapter hundreds of times. I start to understand in the chapter of definiteness of purpose, he says that less than 2% of men that walk this earth will come even to will come within a mere glimpse of a definiteness of purpose in their life. Now, I want you to, let me back this up. Less than 2%, you have 100 people, that's 2. He says less than 2% will even come within a mere glimpse of a definiteness of purpose in their life. So that means you take 100, you already know 98 don't even have a clue. 2 of them will come within a mere glimpse. So now that means that, you gotta multiply that even more. So let's just take, if you got 100 people who are part of the 2%, you're only gonna have maybe 2 of them who will come within a mere glimpse. Who will actually define and have a definiteness of purpose. 2% come within a mere glimpse. When I read that, it gave me the slight edge. I said, I will be in that 2%. I will have a definiteness of purpose. I took my book and I actually start writing out my definiteness of purpose right then and there. And guess what? It was around the 5th or the 6th time that I read the book. It was there the first 5 times. He was right. I was not going to come within a mere glimpse of it. Why? I'm reading the material. Why? So I can say that I read it. I'm reading the material so I can go and repeat it. I'm reading the material so that I can sound intelligent. I'm reading that material so that people will look at me as a reader. I wasn't reading the material so that I could actually have a definiteness of purpose. It took 7, maybe 8 times for me to read it to do the exercise. He was right. He was right. And I didn't understand that at that time. But he was right. Get the book. Maybe that may not be the chapter that impacts you. Find the one that does and study that chapter. And I'm telling you, iBoomerang is a result of me reading and studying this chapter. I've got a defined definiteness of purpose. I'm 1,000% clear on what we're going to do, where we're going to go. I have zero doubt whatsoever about the success and the future of iBoomerang. I've already drawn out the number of $1 million weekly earners that we're going to have. I know exactly how many $1 million monthly earners we're going to have. I know exactly the number of $1 million earners that we're going to have. I've already drawn it out. I've written it out. I've practiced it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And this is why I get up in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, every morning, can't sleep. Why? Not because I just can't sleep and I've got challenges on my mind. It's because there's not enough time I feel there's not enough time to go out and accomplish such a big goal. I've got to absorb as much time of the day into this dream as possible. And it wouldn't have happened had I not studied and mastered and reread and took notes and bought new books, because all of my pens, I couldn't even read the wording on them because I had written so many notes on there. I got to go buy a new book. And I have one of my books to this day. I'll show it to you one day. Looks like an old Bible. You know, those old Bibles get all crinkly and old and the pages get, burnt a little bit, look like they burnt. That's how my book looks. You've seen it, Tigger, haven't you? Yeah. I'm telling you guys, you think HB is great. No, Napoleon Hill's wisdom was great. I just got the wisdom and put it up here. I downloaded it up here. My family didn't talk like this. My family didn't think like this. This is why I can be cool hand Luke when problems and challenges come around. I don't freak out. Why? I know the future. If you're watching a DVR of your favorite football team or basketball team, and you know somebody told you, you know what? You saw it on the news. Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. T. Great, chill out. Be all right. It's going to be okay, Sam Bean. Okay, it's going to be okay, Ronell. All right. Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. And it was, and you got a sneak preview. Somebody told you what the score was, but you DVR'd it. And then you go back home and say, I'm going to watch the game. And you're sitting there, and the Dallas Cowboys are you know, they're actually playing the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowls, Rod. And Rod, and you see Rod up there cheering, right? You see him on Facebook Live. He's cheering. Why? Because the Denver Broncos are up 14 points, and there's only 2 minutes left in the game. Are you going to be, as a Cowboy fan, are you going to be sitting on pins and needles, hoping? No, you know the future. Somebody's already told you what it's going to be like. So you sit back and you say, hey, he's all excited over there. I don't know why. He just don't know what I know. Because you already know what the future is. I call it instant pre-play. Many of you, the reasons why you're where you are is you practice instant replay. You replay failures over and over and over and over and over and over and over in your mind, and you replay them, and you're addicted to habits that bring about results that you don't want in your life. I practice instant pre-play. I pre-played this thing over and over. I sit and I visualize and I think, and people catch me and they say, wow, he's a deep thought. Yeah, I'm thinking of the future and I'm looking at how do we roll this out and how's vision going to be? And we sit and we talk about it. And I've seen our conference already in my head. I've already been to Vision several times. Some of you haven't even bought a ticket. I've already been there several times. I've already watched the video over and over and over and over and over. I know how recognition is going to go. I know when you're going to cry. I know when you're going to laugh. I know when you're going to dance. I know when you're going to get excited. Why? I practice this thing up here over and 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 over again. This is why I don't have tolerance for O ye of little faith. Because I've already seen the movie. I've got the DVR. I know how this ends. I'm not sitting here hoping, wishing. I know how it ends. We practice this over and over. Get these books. Book number 3. Get them. Read them. Study them. Don't brag about them. Be about them. Skill with people. Les Giblin. Small book, thin book. Why do you need that? Because some of you are killing your people. Some of you are you know, the book Skill with People. Put it back up there real quick, Mark, because I want them to see it. Skill with People by Les Giblin. Just let it sit up there for 1 minute, then put me back on the screen. You're killing your people. You're watching, you know, you don't have any people skills. You better, I'm telling you, get this book. I learned how to deal with different people and having a skill set that allows me to interact with people so that they feel like I'm on their side. Some of you are abrasive and you don't even know, you don't have any harm. You're just abrasive. You're just very abrasive. You know, I was watching, and maybe this may be criticism, but I was watching some television here, and I probably shouldn't use this criticism, but I'll use it. I was watching what was taking place over what took place over in El Paso, Texas over here. And I watched the mayor. And the 2 times that I watched the mayor, I'm like, she's a little abrasive. I'm like, you know, now she's got a lot of other skill sets. I'm sure she's the mayor. So I don't only see the dot. I'm sure there's a lot more in her cart. But skill with people has not seemed to be one that I could see that she had from the very beginning. She's curt. She's like strong and just, you know, just no, didn't seem like she had the compassion with dealing with not the people who were victims. I'm sure she does. And I'm not I'm just saying that was my first presence of her. And what happens is sometimes you put on this first presence where people won't even take a second or a third time to get to know you. And she may be the sweetest teddy bear, but I'm telling you what she gave off on camera, her being interviewed, how she, maybe she's frustrated. Maybe she was, I don't know. Okay. But when you're in the public eye, which you are, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you've got to have that skill set. Skill with people, Les Giblin. Next book. The Parable of the Pipeline. Many of you have heard me talk about this book. Burke Hedges, one of my favorite books that I've read. I'll give you two more of his books that I'll give you as a bonus as well. And but this book here is phenomenal. If you want to know what we're building, if you want to see iBoomerang the future, go read this book, The Parable of the Pipeline, Burke Hedges. Read his story where he and his dad came over, I think from either Cuba, and when they came over, they were wealthy. The government took everything from them. They came over here and started with nothing. And he built himself a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and his story was so compelling, and I wanted to know how he felt, not what he did. How did he feel? And I read his books, and I fell in love. They're simple reads, but The Parable of the Pipeline, it talks about our crib. It is our crib. It is the building of our crib. The Parable of the Pipeline is so synonymous with Netflix and who they were and who Blockbuster was. Blockbuster had the buckets. Netflix had the pipeline. Okay, it's synonymous with Amazon. And when Amazon came out, Amazon had the pipeline. Borders and Barnes and Noble had the buckets. You go read this, you're going to understand a little bit more about who we are and where we're going. You don't know right now. You can't know right now. Parable of the Pipeline. Two other books that he wrote that I read is You Can't Steal Second with your foot on first. Some of you still got your foot on first base trying to steal second. You're going to get thrown out every time. Why? The person who steals second base, it's because they have faith that they're going to make it to second base. It's why they do not have their foot on first. Some of you are hovering over first base. You're hovering over first base. What do I mean? You're a little $2,000 check, and you're holding on to it. That's why you can't get to 5,000, because you're so consumed with keeping this. Some of you are so consumed with what we have that we will not take a leap of faith to go get what's bigger and better for our families, because I'm so consumed with what I have. You got to read that book as well. I'm just giving you a couple different ones. The first book that I read of his was Who Stole the American Dream? Who Stole the American Dream? We don't put it up there, but I'm just giving you some books that I've read. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, that I can go do a training for 2 or 3 days, don't need any notes. I've got all the notes. I've read them. I got the understanding. I don't need to look at notes to do a training because it's up in here. I've read it over and over and over and over and over again. Go read The Parable of the Pipeline. Let's get to book number 5. Speed Wealth, T. Harv Eker. You got to go read this book. It's really synonymous with what we're talking about, okay? T. Harv Eker tells you in that book that it doesn't take, he says, if you've got a business model that's designed that is designed for you to hit your first $1 million after 5 years, you got the wrong business. It doesn't take that long anymore. You remember the days of, well, let's just, it's going to take 15, 20 years to develop. Guys, you don't have to do that anymore. I'm not saying that you get rich right away or immediately tonight, but they did. I remember the days also of popping popcorn on the stove, and now we can put it in the microwave. So there are some advancements in technology that allow you to get the same result in a shorter time span. We've got the internet now. We've got social media now. We have got, just look at the number of people. How I never remember before when I got in network marketing, if I did the same training from this office where I am right now, when I first got in network marketing, I'd have an audience of 1. And that would be me. There was no technology where anybody else can hear me. We've got people all over the world. We've got people over in Lebanon, all the way in the Middle East. We've got people in Asia right now on. We've got people in Nigeria that are on right now. We've got people in Australia on right now, United States. We've got people over in France. We've got people in Canada, people in Mexico, people over in Ecuador, all over the world paying attention right now who don't even understand my language. And we've got somebody that you can't see translating. Do you see why we can train people much faster so that they can get a faster result? It's amazing what's happening. Speed wealth, understand the concept. iBoomerang ties right into speed wealth, but the difference is you keep it. You keep the wealth with what we're doing. You keep it, you keep it, you keep it. Book number 6. This one here, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clayson. This one here, it changed my life. It let me understand money philosophies, okay? It allowed me to understand money philosophies and why the rich keep getting richer and why the broke, they practice those principles that basically imprison them to a life of lack. It's not because, I was a bad person when I was broke. I had a mentality that was broke. I thought like a broke person. I was afraid of being wealthy. I was afraid of doing the things that rich people do. There's nothing wrong with being rich at all. When you have more, you can do more. I don't apologize for it, and you shouldn't either. I hope your goal is to accumulate as much wealth as you can for your family and for your heirs. Please don't adopt that philosophy of, well, if I get rich, it means that somebody else got poor. No. Have you looked at our GDP? Wealth is being created. Wealth is not merely just transfer. You don't have to take from somebody else to get rich. You create. You create. You create. We have not taken anything from people. From any. iBoomerang hasn't taken one dime from anybody. But you know what we've done? We've created now over $11 million worth of wealth for our distributors, for our ambassadors. Why? Because of an idea and action on that idea and being steadfast and moving towards that goal is what created the wealth. Understand, wealth is designed for you if you want it, and you can take the wealth and give it to somebody else if you want to as well. I look at the richest people in the world today. Some of the richest people in the world, you know what they've done? They've done something that some of you who criticize them haven't done. What they decided is they're going to take 99% of their wealth and give it away. But we still criticize them for making billions. I would want the wealthy people who have that idea to want to make more billions. All of our 100 heirs out there, you don't want to give 99 of your $100 away. You haven't said, I'm going to take my little $100 that I have, and I'm going to make sure in my will that I give it to the hospital. I'm going to give it to this charity. No, you want to keep it. You want to take it with you. So let's not judge that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that paradigm that you've got to be a bad person to create wealth. No, there's a lot of broke people that are bad. There's a lot of good people that are bad, rich people that are bad. It's bad on both sides. When you get more money, it will actually empower you to become more of who you already are. That's what it will expose you. You have a bigger platform to show your true colors when you become wealthy. When you become wealthy. Let's go to the next book. But back to The Richest Man in Babylon. I got to give them this one as well. I got to go back to this one. This book right here taught me don't ever loan money. I don't loan it. I don't loan it to my parents, don't loan it to my family. I don't loan money, neither should you. If you want to get rid of a friend, loan them some money. They won't pay you back. Everybody I've loaned money to, I say, here, let me just put, I know you're having a little tough time here. I'm going to pay you back. They never pay you back. They never pay, and then they don't want to be around you. I start to understand the monetary system, how banks actually work. Why don't I loan money to people? Because if you don't qualify to borrow money from the bank who makes a living loaning money, which means that if you borrow money from them, they will make money, and they say, no, we don't want to loan you any money. You think I'm smarter than the bank? No, I'm not as smart as the bank is. when it comes to evaluating your profile. So I don't loan, well, it's just a personal loan. Well, let them go to the MoneyGram store or wherever the quick cash loan is. Don't loan money that you can't afford to give. You can give it to them, say, hey, listen, I'm going to give this, no expectations, okay? No expectations. Typically when people come, we'll talk about that leadership training. I'm not going to give you all of that now. Next book here. I got to get through this. Wow, I'm 8 minutes over my time. John C. Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Guys, this right here, all three of these guys, you know what? I used to do the call from right over there, sitting right over there. All three of these guys, I'm just thinking about it now. I had a group, and it was a group of 6 people. I had a group of 42,000 people in my organization, and I had a group of 6 people that I chose to mentor. And this was back in 2005. Guess who they are? Edwin Haynes, T. Gray, Mark Cathcart was 3 of the 6. Okay? And on this call, I know she's on the call, Kimberly Phillips. You see her at the event. She was on the call as well. Wow. Is that amazing? No. They put themselves in the environment. I didn't make them. They chose to get around the environment. And we did this mentorship, and one of the workbooks that I drilled was 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I drilled it. They had assignments and homework that they had to do, and they had to come to the call ready to perform every time. Why? My standards were extremely high. Look at their lives now. It wasn't me. It was that I learned how to take it to the next level. That book drove my leadership skills to the next level. Go get that book. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Look at the title, 21 Irrefutable. You can't refute them if you wanted to. You can't even try. That means that they are principles. You can't say that the law of gravity doesn't work. It just means that you're just going to disrespect it, and it's going to work against you. Irrefutable means that if you don't pay homage to these laws, they will work against you. 21 of them. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Okay? Next one. John C. Maxwell, developing the leader within you. I had to learn how. I was not always a good, healthy leader. I exhibited leadership qualities, but I didn't know how to take that and make it work for me. I didn't know how to become all I could be as a leader. You got to learn how to do that. You got to get this book, read the book, study the book. You say, well, can I read more than one book at a time? Yeah. Yes, you can. You watch more than one television show at a time. I mean, you can't physically have 2 books, reading 2 books, but you can be reading a chapter in this one. You can be reading a chapter in this one at nighttime if you want to. Guys, give your brain credit. When you went to school, did you study more than one subject at a time? Yes. Yes, 5 or 6 classes. You can read more than one book at a time. Some books is going to be for this. Can you read a book about how to be healthy and have the right diet? Can you read a book about how to develop better relationships? Yeah. Can you read a book about how to be a better leader? All of those at one time. You don't have to stand in line and say, well, your brain is much better than you think. You don't even understand how to use your brain fully. None of us do. It's powerful. Your brain can trust me, your brain can do it. Next book. The Magic of Thinking Huge. Okay? The Magic of Thinking Huge. Those of you who are listening, not watching, is actually The Magic of Thinking Big. This was my first personal development book that I ever read. Look at it, 6 million copies sold at that time. And I was always a dreamer, but I never knew how to take my dreams and put them into reality. I read in this book, and I never forget the 3 C's, okay? Those 3 C's. Go read the book and figure out what those 3 C's are, okay? Those 3 different diseases that cause people not to succeed. And I learned what those were, and it changed my entire life because I understood what it was like now to think big, to be free to think big and not to paralyze myself by shooting small. Les Brown, who's one of my mentors, Matter of fact, I spoke with him the other day. He actually picked up the phone, called Erlene. I'm hearing this deep voice on the phone. I'm like, oh, that's Les. And they were having this great conversation, but I never forget what he told me. He said, most men and women don't fail because they shoot for the stars and miss. They fail because they shoot too low and they hit. They don't fail because they shoot too high and miss. They fail because they shoot too low and then they hit it. And they have, success boredom. They become complacent with achievement. Why? Because you didn't do all that you could do. Most people want to be the big fish in the little pond instead of spread and be amongst giants and be amongst whales and say, you know what? I'm a big whale in the ocean. I'd rather be this bass, this 15-pound bass amongst 10-pound catfish. And it makes you feel good. That's not what, go be all you can be. This book will help you do that. Next book. I've got an extra one for you right here, ladies and gentlemen. And it's called You Have Permission to Succeed. It is by your global master ambassador, Mr. Edwin Haynes himself. He lived this. I can tell you right now, this guy was so bashful that he wouldn't even lead silent prayer in church. He would stand up in the corners while meetings was going on and wouldn't say a word. He'd stand here with his hands like this, just kind of, when it came to this setting. Why? Because Ed is from the hood. That's where he's from. This guy's from the streets. He understood the music game. That's where he was. He made his money, out there in a world that was different than the traditional business world. So out there, he could be loud if he wanted to. He was so uncomfortable. He was so uncomfortable. You heard me talk about when I would take him dream building in this same neighborhood. And hey, it's time to go look at these houses, man. Man, I'm not going to look at some houses that I can't afford. That's dumb. I say, if you keep thinking like that, you're never going to be able to afford them. Get your butt in this car. He'd come kicking and screaming. I ain't looking at these houses. Then he kept going, and he found his house. Guess what? He now lives in the neighborhood where we were looking when neither one of us could afford to live here. Okay? And why? Because he had to give himself permission to succeed. He had to give himself permission. And he's going to teach you all about giving. Some of you not giving yourself credit. Some of you are downplaying who you are. Give yourself credit and get that book, Permission to Succeed. I think that was my last one. No, I've got a bonus book on here for you. I want to give y'all my bonus, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. This book right here laid out my wealth blueprint. I tell you this, I never forget, I read this book. When I read this book, my income jumped $2 million within the next 12 months. Increased $2 million. I read this book. I lost my mind. I lost it. I was like, where has this information in this book been so plain and clear? It's not new information. It's just about how they display it, how they package it, how you receive that information. Okay? Put it back up, Mark. Put it back up. Put all of them back up real quick because some of them are asking. T. Harv Eker. Those are all 10 of them. Take a screenshot of it right now. Don't try to write them all down. Take a screenshot, if you could, of it. That way you'll have them all. I'm telling you guys, these changed my life. They changed my life majorly, big time. So many people have come up to Edwin, your book changed my life, and basically let him know how much they appreciated the way it's not new information from him. What he did is he took it and he repackaged the information, how he learned it and how he applied it, and he delivered it differently and put his signature on it, just like anybody else has. The information from Napoleon Hill is not new information, new material. It's all been here. What we do is we get it, we learn it, we apply it, and then we package it in a different way with our own experience, with our expertise. Okay? With our expertise. And that's what we do. That is exactly what we do. And so your reading material is so important. I gotta finish up the last one here. You're listening. Let's go to the next slide here so we can wrap this up. You guys know I can keep going. Your listening library. What are you listening to? What are you listening to? Okay. You're listening in your video library today. If everything that you're watching on YouTube is entertaining, that's an issue. Okay. Let's not focus on only entertaining yourself. For every hour of entertainment that you get, here's what I ask. Get 15 minutes of input, 15 minutes of reading. If you're going to watch a TV program for an hour, after that hour, go and read a book. Go and watch a video or something. Always start programming this brain. Always, always, always program this brain. I learned something. I never go to sleep. I read this from a book. I never go to sleep without giving myself a problem to solve. Why? Because I learned that my brain never sleeps. I do. My subconscious mind is awake. My subconscious mind is moving around. It's preparing the future. It's doing all kind of stuff for the future while I'm sleeping. So what I do is I lay my head down and I think of some challenges that need to be solved. And while I go to sleep, I wake up with the answers. Not why? It's not Holton, the subconscious. It's not Holton who got those answers. You know who it is? Napoleon Hill solved those problems for me. John Maxwell solved them. Les Giblin solved them. David J. Schwartz solved those. George Clayson solved those problems for me. John Maxwell solved those problems for me. Edwin Haynes solved those problems. All I do is I go to sleep. The work that I had to do was my conscious mind. And that was pick up the book and read it. Consciously, I read the book. That's the job that I have to do. It's kind of like the Prib. It's your job to get the customer. It's the Prib job to keep them. It's your job to read the book, the conscious mind to read the book. It's the subconscious mind to make the stuff work. But you've got to give it time and you've got to fill it with information. And I can tell you right now that your subconscious mind and your brain is so special. The capacity that you have in your brain, if you want to give some relevance. This is how huge. You say, well, we've got these storage tanks that have 4 terabytes or whatever the bytes are. That's nothing in comparison to what your brain can hold. Okay? Your brain has the capacity, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, of 1,000 Library of Congresses. If you took and read every book in the Library of Congress 1,000 times, you can remember every single word of every single book if you trained yourself to do it and if you had enough time to go through it. The computer that drives this subconscious mind is so powerful, you'd have to fill the Grand Canyon up with water 15 different times just with water to cool the computer chips that would actually run the processor equivalent to what your brain can do. I'm telling you this, guys, I've uncovered, and that's where my success came from. So when you want to know what's the difference between iBoomerang and Brand X Travel Company, it's not the iGo platform. It's not that we give cash back. It's what I've read. It's what I've learned. It's the leadership that our team is providing. That's what you bought. That's what you bought. When you go and ask people at the Kentucky Derby, don't bet on the horse, bet on the jockey. That's what you got a discount on. So when you paid your $1,000 and your $99 a month, if you understood what you got, you'd be jumping up and down for joy saying, I only have to pay $100 a month to lease space and the brains of the team that we've got here. Guys, that's what you got. While everybody else is going to compare, well, look what our price is. We only charge 25 or 90, 75. Okay. Go buy the product. You're not going to get this. We're at Vision, we're rolling out our personal development plan The guys over in Australia, they were bugging me because they know, okay? Amy and Steve, they've got a team over there, and those guys going, and you know, those guys were and Steve, they were saying, hey, listen, we got to get this I said, guys, don't worry, we got this. You know, because they know that's what keeps the people in. That's what keeps the people in. Okay? That listening library, I think we had another one here.
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Last thing I'll tell you is this, a bonus one. I always give you a bonus, is be accountable. Accountability. Be accountable means that your word means something. Yeah. Can you look yourself in the eye? Can you look your upline in the eye? Oh, I'm going to be in Vegas at Vision. And then you weasel out. That's not accountability. Have you ever told your team members, hey, listen, I'm going to come over here and do a meeting, and then you don't go, don't show? That's not being accountable. When you look your upline in the eye and say, hey, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I show the plan 20 times this month. And you show it 4, that's not being accountable. Okay? We're a team here. This is a family. We got some great stuff. We've been doing a lot of work. All I'm gonna tell you is this. We're about to do some celebrating. We got some more work to do. Okay. But we've been planning some celebrations, guys. We are about to partay. I'm telling you. But we got to get you paid first. Let's get you paid. Let's get you out of debt. We don't. I know we did our experience that we did in Mexico. And when is the next one? Trust me, we're planning them right. We're looking at things that we're going to be doing. Why? Because we're going to be celebrating like crazy. Okay, like crazy. But isn't it better to celebrate when you don't have to budget it? When you don't have to choose between school clothes for the kids and taking this trip. And right now, some of you have to do that, and I understand that, and I'm sensitive to that. It's been my same thing. I had to do it before. This is why we created iBoomerang, so that you don't have to be there forever. Okay, take this information, become core. Become core. Being core doesn't solve your problems overnight, but not being core will never solve them. I can't wait to see you guys in Vegas. And I had an announcement that I was supposed to make, right?
Yes.
So here's what we're going to do. Is it on the stage or is it on the screen now?
It's on the screen.
Here's what I'm doing, okay? Because I know I'm looking at the time that we have, the time frame here, and we were able to secure another component of Light. We have the promotion. We want you to come for free. 2 business packs, okay? Business class or higher. And you come to Light for free. Right now, we're only going to release 500 tickets. I'm sure it will sell out, with this week here. Okay.
Probably today.
It may sell out today. Okay. Don't ask for more tickets. We don't have any more space. So don't ask.
And they keep asking for our late tickets.
Listen, the women's event is we can't create any more space. Okay. And we're not going to open up another. It's just done. So we can't manufacture space. Fire marshal says, this is what you can sit for. It's done. It's packed out. We told you it was going to pack out. This is going to sell out. But I really wanted to sell out with people who come with the 2, but we're going to party big time. We're going to celebrate right afterwards. This place is going to be electric. You want to be there. And so it's only the first 500 tickets. If you know you've got people that's not there, go buy 10 tickets, okay, for your team members. I'm telling you, we cannot, I want you to read my lips. Let me get close to the camera. It is illegal for us to sell tickets at the door. Don't think that this is a sales tactic. We cannot sell tickets at the door, okay? We can't. We cannot sell tickets at the door. There will be no tickets at the door. You just can't. We can't do it. So either you're going to recruit your way there, or you're going to take these last 500 tickets that we're allotting. We've made space for obviously estimating the number of people that we're recruiting. And then we've got another space that at the club. We say, hey, listen, let's just make this incredible because everybody wants to come to this, to the event. And a lot of people are sponsored there. A lot of people last month said, well, I'm sponsoring coach packages and what about upgrades? No, we want to encourage enrollments, okay? Enrollment. So 500 tickets, is it up right now?
It is.
And it's up right now, and we are going to cut it off. It's going to be another event that you don't want to miss Sunday night. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to be your CEO. We are serving you every single day. Thank you for all the great things that you're saying about our customer service. When you send those in, you're saying about the team that we have. We appreciate it. You know, what we do know is when something goes wrong, everybody talks about it. When something goes right, nobody talks about it. But there's a few of you out there who talks about what's going right and calling in or emailing in, letting us know how much you appreciate our customer service team and our customer service team who's out there right now. We love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate the job that you guys are doing. I know some of them are watching right now. If not, they go back and watch this replay and they do it from home. You have no idea. They go home on the weekends, not in the office, and they answer your tickets from home when most companies will only do it in the office. So we thank you guys so much. And every one of you out there, ambassadors carrying the flag. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention. One thing. And this is a moment for learning real quick, okay? It may be a little sensitive subject for some of you, but I want you to understand I'm coming from a place of love. And maybe you've gotten a misinterpretation, or maybe you've done it this way before, okay? From time to time, you know, I want you to understand what we've done. We designed iBoomerang to be a brand. It is a very important brand, extremely important brand. My name is a brand, not because of the money that I've made, but because of how I've protected it and the reputation that I want it to have. And this is why I don't allow myself to associate with certain things or certain people. Why? Because it tarnishes my brand, okay? And it's really important. Your name should be a brand as well. When you're carrying the iBoomerang flag, okay, waving this banner here, it means something, okay? And we created not only a brand, and we're creating a brand, and we want you to represent it with respect, okay? How you treat people has a whole lot to do with this brand. How you talk to individuals. When we go to hotels, at Vision, iBoomerang's name is associated. How you leave your hotel room. Some of you may have 15 people in one room. I've been there. But you don't leave it looking like nobody ever slept there. Why? Because our goal is to be the most significant company, not just the biggest or the wealthiest. We want to leave an impact. We want people to say, we want this company to come back, okay? I've seen people who have no regard whatsoever, and what happens is the brand gets tarnished. When you go to the restaurants, we want them to say, man, those iBoomerang people are great tippers. You know when you should tip the most? When you don't have the money. That's when your percentage should go up. I learned that. I start tipping 20% when I used to be a 10% tipper. I didn't have the money. I would tip 20% anyway. Why? I learned it in one of the books. Next thing you know, my income started going up. Now I can do 25 and 200, 500% tips when I choose, not all the time. Okay? But you're wearing the brand, okay? And when you're out at events, here's the thing. I'll tell you this here. Guys, we have fun. Don't represent yourself in a public place, getting all inebriated and over drinking or whatever it may be when Vegas, okay? I'm not telling you that you should or you shouldn't drink, okay? Whatever it is, I'm not saying that. I used to be the one saying, no, we're not gonna know out, but I want you to be you. But be responsible. Because see, when you go out and you're just drunk because you're in Vegas and you got on our boomerang gear, you just tarnish the brand. Let's respect the brand and lift this brand up so when people see it, they see it with dignity. They see it with style. They see it with respect. They see it with love and success. In addition to that, let's make sure that we respect the authenticity of the branding. What do I mean? On my travels all around that I've gone around, specifically here in the US, sometimes over in other countries, but mostly here in the US, we see people who may not even have the understanding, and I want you to hear it from the CEO. don't go make your own iBoomerang gear. That's a very strong way after this call of saying, I disrespect the brand. We've seen people, I've gone into meetings and I've seen people who take the logo and they've got all kind of stuff on our Boomerang shirts. And I'm like, that's not who we are. That doesn't represent our Boomerang. And it gives us a bad name. And we know that you don't have a bad intention to destroy or denigrate our brand, but you are, okay? We have Boom Gear for a reason. And I know some of you saying, well, I'm gonna save me some money. You don't sit at home and make Louis Vuitton shirts or Gucci shirts. You go to the store and you buy those. Go to Boom Gear, okay? And get authentic stuff. Nike don't let you misrepresent their brand. I am more protective and more proud of the branding that we have than any other fashion statement that's out there. I've got a closet full of clothes, and this is what I wear every day. And for me to walk in and see somebody with a green iBoomerang shirt on, it for a while it turned my stomach, and I said, they don't know any better because we haven't taught them. Well, I'm sharing it with you now. Creating our Boomerang gear, rally, all of that stuff, guys, do not take our logos and brand and create gear and stuff here's how that operates, okay? And I want all diamonds to listen to this, okay? I'm gonna ask you that you educate your team and your people when you see it. Because when we're around, and we see it, we're probably gonna we're gonna ask you politely, hey, listen, exit the room. Because you're in violation already of our trademark, okay? And so let's not get it twisted and say, well, the shirts are too expensive, or no, we keep the prices good. Well, he's only saying this to make money. Yes, we want to make a profit. You know why we want to make a profit for it? So that we can offset a lot of the expenses that we have that we're pouring right back into you. It's profit driven. It's not a charity. It's profit driven, not necessarily from a personal profit, but so we can say, hey, look, here's what's from Boom Gear. When we do this convention here, which I can tell you right now, your cost of your ticket has not covered the cost of vision. I can tell you that right now. We're probably $400,000 over in the negative, okay? But we anticipate that. But that's why we have other things, so we can offset those losses from a business standpoint. But even not about the money, respect, okay? Have respect for your company. And people ask you, is this iBoomerang business real? And you say, yeah. And then they say, well, why are you wearing a fake shirt? You got to be congruent, okay? And so I just wanted to be respectful on that and come to you and let you know, no, go to the Boom Gear, go to iBoom Hub, go to Boom Gear and get your authentic stuff. Let's be real. Let's respect the brand. And if we don't have it, wait on it. If we don't have your color, wait on it. If we don't have your size, request it. Request it. Don't go out and make your own stuff, because that is a way of showing us that you don't respect our brand. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we love each and every one of you. I want to thank you so much for everything that you've done for iBoomerang and for you and your family. I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas. Get your ticket, don't pay $250, get it at $229. We don't need the extra. Get it now, and we'll see you guys in Las Vegas. Boom.